Before visiting Japan, I've never wanted to buy Sega Saturn. But after a few days of walking between rows of games and consoles, I understood that it is a special fighting game console. And what was important for me is that there are a lot of Virtua Fighter games on Saturn. Plus, there's first Dead or Alive. Of course, I played most of those games on other platforms or using emulators, but Sega Saturn is not expensive in Japan, and you can literally buy it everywhere. For example, Dreamcast is quite rare compared to Saturn. The common price of Saturn is 5,500 yen. I bought mine for 3,300. I really like Virtua Fighter and Dead or Alive, and I had problems with some games. I played Arcade DOA Double Plus, but I couldn't make the first original DOA work normally, and I also couldn't even launch Virtua Fighter Kids. Other games don't run perfectly as well. So I just was curious about real console experience of those ports. Other fighting games for Saturn can be really expensive, so I was not ready to waste my money on archaic products like CDs. But now, I think when I'll be in Japan next time, I definitely should buy some of them. I know I can burn CDs for Saturn by myself at home. I've watched some videos about disc swapping, and you know I'm not ready. Just look how the disc is fixed at its place. There are 3 tiny metal balls that press on inner circle. It feels like there are springs under them. And there's no button-like center to push. You just have to pull it while it's spinning. But maybe I'll try later. I've bought a console with original gamepad, but I don't need it. I used this arcade stick. It was cheap, 550 yen. Someone has already adapted it for Virtua Fighter by labeling guard, punch, kick buttons. The controller works without any problems, despite it was in junk section and it was selling like not tested. The stick spring is soft and it feels absolutely normal. I don't feel any difference between this one and other soft sticks that I used in more expensive controllers. But I'm not a pro. The size of the controller is small, but my hands don't feel discomfort. Maybe there's not enough space for the right hand, but it is because of 3-button VF and DOA layout. I think playing 6-button games will change hand position. Anyway, it's okay for me, the left hand doesn't need more space. All buttons have turbo mode, the speed also can be changed. Unfortunately, I had no chance to test it. I play only fighting games. It is official Sega controller, but it was made in Taiwan. I thought I've seen some pictures of it on disc covers, but I couldn't find them. Maybe it was somewhere inside, like in booklet or manual. Or maybe it was on some Saturn boxes. Anyway, it was recommended for Saturn by Sega, I'm sure. This console has 100 volt power supply, so I use 220 volt transformer. And in general, that's all. This old console is still alive. The CD drive works. It was in junk section too, for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with it. The only strange thing is AV cable. The RCA outputs have non-standard size. They don't fit in like they should. The connection is very loose. I cannot make it intentionally, but when I play, the sound may become quieter. When I tested it in Japan, I didn't notice such problem. Maybe RCA in Japan is different. I don't know. So, about playing games. I cannot say that it is totally another experience. But Saturn emulation is still very bad. And if you want to play Saturn version of any game, it's really better to use a real console. In my case, I finally played Virtua Fighter Kids. And because I like VF and DOA series, I can enjoy them on any platform. And I can see some difference between ports. For example, Virtua Fighter 2 ports for PC, for Saturn and for Xbox 360 are not one and the same. So for me it is really interesting, and I'm not going to put Saturn on a shelf and forget about it. I will use it. Not every day of course, but I need to free some space close to the TV.